Hello everybody, Mannix here. Got another knife review for you right here, right now. Feel free to subscribe, hit that little bell notification if you do not want to miss weekly knife and gun videos. This is going to be on one of the Ozark Trail knives that was in the 6-piece combo set they were selling late 2023. It came with a black knife with a Tonto blade on a ball bearing track, a blue knife with a shaft lock, and then this knife right here. Although not on a ball bearing track, it is assisted. And rather than being a Tonto, it is a drop point. However, as far as I know, it's pretty much exactly the same as that other knife. This one right here. Already have a review on this sucker as well. Pretty much the exact same handle designs, exact same profile, thumb studs, flippers. They're both liner locks. They're both tip down carry right hand. Loop over pocket clips. They both have polypropylene handles. I'm assuming they both have the exact same blade steel. They're both stonewash finishes. But again, big difference here. This guy's on a ball bearing track and is manual. This guy not on a ball bearing track, but it's assisted. So TLDR, this is pretty much the exact same thing as this with a different blade shape, and it's assisted. Great knife. Both very, very good knives. Let's just get into the nitty-gritties of this knife regardless. 4-inch handle, 3-inch blade, 7 inches overall length. It's either a 3CR13, maybe a 440A blade steel. I don't actually know for sure. Most of us don't really know for sure. Don't know, it's kind of a question mark, but it performs somewhere around there from most people's research and testing. We'll probably verify it eventually, but on the softer side, but actually cuts pretty well. In fact, with very little use on this guy. A wee while there. Not too bad. Certainly what I would call a utility edge. Although it absolutely could be touched up a little bit. It's not a Spyderco razor edge, but for a $5 knife, absolutely worth it. Speaking of which, this was available in the 6-piece combo set that Ozark Trail was selling, knife brand from Walmart, which was $15 on the nose, which came with this, that black knife I just showed, the blue knife with the shaft lock I just talked about, and then 3 freebie bonus items, a knife sharpener, a carabiner / bottle opener, something or other, and then a Phillips head screwdriver tool set belt clip thing. All pretty cool tools actually, but you got all 6 of those items that's included for $15. So disregarding the 3 freebie items, just looking at the 3 knives, that's kind of like saying each of the knives are $5. So you could argue this is like a $5 knife, but if you include the extra items into the price, you could estimate maybe it's kind of like a $4 knife. So for $4 to $5, this is actually one of the best knives on the planet as of early 2024. Deploys very, very well if you're into assisted knives. It's actually a very well done torsion bar, or whatever the method is to open this knife up. Polypropylene handle, scales, stainless steel liners in there. Good lockup. There's basically no side to side. It's pretty much undetectable. I could crank this down a little bit tighter if I wanted to, but I think it's fine. Little bit of up and down. If I really crank on it, I can kind of get that liner to move just ever so slightly, but that's like most liner locks and most knives in general. There's a little something there. I would still consider it pretty much a rock solid lockup. If you just do this, you're not going to feel anything moving. But if you're actively looking for blade play, you might feel just a little bit of something in there, but it's pretty much the same strength as any other liner lock that I would argue could be around the $30 to $40 range. Is probably something around there, so totally not a big deal at all. The weight, I'm actually curious about this one. It feels slightly heavier than the black knife, and I'm assuming that's simply because we have the addition of the torsion bar inside of here. Let's just see. I actually don't know. 2.7 ounces. If I remember correctly, that actually might be lighter. So here's our black knife. 2.76 ounces. Somehow it's 0.06 ounces lighter than our ball bearing knife. Could just be the geometry of the blade shape. I wonder if there's technically more steel on this one. That's probably it, actually. It's that Tonto. Might just be taking up ever so slightly more space, but that kind of surprises me a little bit. Another thing I will say, the texturing on the handle scales actually feels a little different. I know they're both polypropylene, but they feel like different materials. This one, if you listen closely, it's like higher pitched on the black one. That's weird. It feels slightly more slick, I guess. This one feels like the fat of my thumb's getting stuck on it a little bit more. Like it feels more sticky, I guess, like smooth G10 almost. This one feels, I guess, more sturdy, and my thumb's kind of sliding loosely over it more. The handle scales ever so slightly almost feel like they're different. I wonder if that just has to do with how these are colored, but we're talking really, really, really minute differences there. It's basically the same crap. Polypropylene, although a very, very strong, hard plastic, it is just that, plastic. It's not FRN, it's not GFN. There's no glass content inside of here. It's just plastic. Not a whole lot going on there, but a very strong plastic. Said this many, many times, but I have not seen or even heard of any issues regarding these handle scales on any of these Ozark Trail knives, despite it not being FRN or any FRN variant, which is basically the standard for polymer handles across the knife world. But it's working good enough for me and good enough for pretty much everybody who has these things, as far as I know. So no issues with that there. And for the price, you really cannot complain. This is like $25 or $20. Yeah, throw some glass filled polymer on there, please. But for $4 to $5, whatever this is, not a big deal at all. So 2.7 ounce weight, 7-inch total overall length with a 3-inch blade. I like the way it looks. Very simple, very purposeful, tried and true drop point. Love that finish on there. Thumb studs work just fine, cylindrical, tapered at the tips right there. A little bit too rounded, I think, actually. They're very nice and smooth, user-friendly, but sometimes my thumb slips a little bit on them because they're so smooth. But it's a very, very minor thing. At least there's some kind of texturing there, as you can see, which is like most thumb studs these days. The flipper's nice and smooth, works well, but I do wish it was jimped. Occasionally, your finger may slip on it because it's so slick. See that? Slipped right there. Didn't even intend to do that. Not a big deal, though. Just no jimping anywhere other than the liner, just like the other knife. But the liner works just fine. Lockups just fine. Disengaging it, closing it's easy. Just like the other one, the way this knife carries is just fine. Loop over, so very, very little is going to be poking out of your pocket right there. Probably that at most is what most people are going to see. So on watch clip, I don't mind it. It's kind of phallic looking. Yeah, but I've seen this design on many, many, many knives over the years. So I think it's just a universal clip design that manufacturers are somehow able to get their hands on. It works well. I just wish it was tip up, like all of us are probably thinking at this point in time. Comfortable ergonomics. It's nice and smooth, pretty round, hand filling. It's not super slim. It's not super fat, but so for what it's worth, for being in a 6-piece combo set like that, even if this was $5, if you could get this alone for $5, totally worth it, especially if you're into your assisted knives. Oh, see that slipped. That was not intentionally slipped right there. I just wish that was jimped. Jimping can be important. I'm not huge on jimping. I don't really care that much. But when it's on something like that, a flipper or like a thumb stud or something, and you slip when you're trying to deploy it, I think that's an issue personally. Wish it was jimped, but oh well. Other than the lack of jimping on the flipper, and other than the fact that this pocket clip is not tip up, I can't think of anything else I don't like about it. I actually really, really like this knife. Very cheap, good lockup. It's comfortable, not bad looking. I like the light gray handle scale on here. It's kind of classy looking, actually. It's pretty sweet. Very simple, somewhat friendly looking, you know. It's got the whole gray metal thing going on despite this being a plastic handle. And that blade's really nice too. If you're into your drop points, this is a choice one to have. It's actually perfectly fine. Great knife overall, just like the others. Once again, very impressed. Normally I'm into manual folders. Assisted knives are not usually my thing, but honestly, this is actually a very, very good one. And for the price point, I can't complain at all. And I actually really, really like it a lot regardless. So great EDC blade. Okay, tactical blade. I kind of wish there was more texturing on here. This texturing on this handle, although I like the way it looks, the diamond kind of pattern we have going here. It almost kind of feels like it's rubberized, somewhat grippy, and there's no jimping anywhere, but we do have a guard there at least. And yeah, it's fine. The handle shape kind of reminds me of a Benchmade Griptilian a little bit. If Benchmade made this knife, they probably charge like $169.99 for it. So let's just all be thankful that it's got a value of about $5. Okay, so that's it. That is the Ozark Trail assisted knife that came in the 6-piece combo set. Don't know what else to call it because I absolutely cannot find a model name or number for this thing anywhere. Once again, very impressed for such a cheap price point. What do you think about this knife if you have it? Are there any advantages or disadvantages I may have missed in this video? Do you think these Ozark Trails are actually still just junk? Or do you think it's time for the other knife manufacturers out there to start stepping up their game? Let me know in the comments down below. It's always interesting to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Mannix out.